All right. Welcome everyone to our Tuesday Toastmasters meeting. It is December 15th, 2020. It is 7:45 p.m. on Tuesday. We are the Golden Speakers Toastmasters of Fairfield, Iowa. The mission of our Toastmasters Club is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Let's hear it for our mission. I'll pass it off to our Toastmaster for tonight to start off the meeting proper, and that is Jean Symington Craig. Take it away, Jean.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tonight, our meeting theme is forgiveness. A couple of quotes. The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong, by Mahatma Gandhi. And then, forgiveness is the fragrance that the violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it. So if you can do that, that is a tremendous gift. And that was by Mark Twain. Tonight, we are going to have a prepared speech, and I will start by introducing our role players. Our first role player is our timer, Bob Vogel. Bob, would you tell us what you'll be doing for the meeting tonight?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and viewers at home. This evening, I will do the timer sheet, and we'll be doing table topics. And table topics will be at 1 minute, will be the green. 1.5 minutes will be the yellow. 2 minutes will be the red. And then you got 30 seconds to close up. And then the prepared speech this evening, is it at 4 minutes or 5 minutes? What's the prepared speech? So I know.
5 to 7.
5 to 7. Okay. So that being said, Carmen knows at 5 minutes, I will show the green. At 6 minutes, I will show the yellow. And at 7 minutes, I will show the red. And then Carmen will have 30 seconds to wrap up after that. Our evaluators this evening, I don't have the itinerary from me. So who's our evaluator this evening?
We'll have two evaluators. We'll have two evaluators, a table topics evaluator and a speech evaluator. So
Okay. Okay, so our table topics evaluator, well, we doing 2 minutes or 3 minutes or how we?
Well, we'll see how many we have. We go ahead and quote 2 to 3 because that's our usual evaluator time.
So an evaluator at 2 minutes, I will flash the green, 2.5 yellow, and at 3 the red, and you'll have 30 seconds to wrap up. The same as our evaluator for the evening, right? The evaluator of the evaluators, it's the same thing. We're doing 2 and 3 minutes.
The general evaluator, we do 3 to 4 minutes.
Okay. Excuse me for not being prepared. As Jean stated, at 3 minutes for the general evaluator, I show the green. Yellow at 3.5 and 4 at red. And again, you'll have 30 seconds to wrap it up. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mr. Timer. Okay. Our next role player is our grammarian, and that would be Art. Art, why don't you tell us what you'll be doing tonight?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. 2 aspects of the grammarian's role I'll be working with tonight. One of them is to listen to the language that speakers are using and note down any particularly graceful or memorable phrases or words that were used. And should there be any grammatical mistakes, to listen for those also. The other aspect of the grammarian's role which I will put into the chat in a moment, is to choose the word of the evening and demonstrate it in a sentence. And the word of the evening that I've chosen is resent. To hold a grudge or anger or to not forgive. And then a illustration of that verb, it's a verb, would be, I have found that if I resent my wife's transgressions, that the situation becomes untenable. I'll give a brief report at the end of the meeting.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Grammarian. Very nice tying in the word of the day with the theme. That's an interesting, very harmonious development there. Also, you spoke great wisdom there for those who are married of the male persuasion. The next, the next role player is our counter, Aaron Russell.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Well, Toastmasters and viewers at home, as your counter, it is my duty to note words and sounds that are used as a crutch or a pause filler by those who speak, also known as crutch words. During the meeting, I will listen for overused words such as and, well, but, so, and my favorite, you know, or kinda. I will also listen for filler sounds such as and I also note when a speaker repeats a word, also note like a false start or a Xerox, such as I, or this means. At the end of the meeting, I will give a report on which speakers use which words. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Aaron Russell will also be our general evaluator for the evening, and we'll hear from him later. We'll have a joke master as well. That would be me, and we'll also hear from me later. Moving right along to our prepared speech for the evening and our speaker, Carmen Antacona. I'd like for Dan Craig to read what project she's doing and the objectives that she's hoping to achieve.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Tonight, Carmen is going to be doing a speech from level 3. The path is innovative planning. And the particular project is to inspire your audience. The purpose of the project is for the member to practice writing and delivering a speech that inspires others. The purpose of the speech is for the member to inspire the audience. Carmen's title tonight is My New Philosophy, Stoicism. Madam Toastmaster.
I'm going to read Carmen's introduction. Carmen works as a research technician and quality manager at HRI Labs, which is a nonprofit organization committed to the testing and research of water, soil, and food in order to reach and maintain a healthy environment accessible to everyone. She's been living in Fairfield for more than 3 years. She's been in Golden Speakers Toastmasters since 2018, almost parallel there. She has one son who is studying in the University of Iowa. Please help me warmly welcome Carmen Antacona, My New Philosophy, Stoicism.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and viewers at home. I didn't know that when I was reaching 50 years old, a couple of months ago, it was such a big deal for me. I was asking myself deep questions like, I am having everything that I dream of. I am being a good mother. I am enjoying my career so far. But the most important question, it was, I am happy at this point of my life. I am grateful for all the experiences that I have so far, the good and the bad, the sad and the happy ones, the expected and the unexpected. But still, I'm looking for something, and I don't know where to find it. I was watching a video about Stoicism and how the people that practice can be better in life. That's why I was so curious about it. I was Googled the term and I found inspirational quotes, YouTube videos, even a Facebook group in English and Spanish. For that reason, I was so interested, even though I never applied philosophy in my daily life. I learned that the Stoicism is a Greek, ancient philosophy, almost 2,000 years ago. And that was taught by Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius. These philosophers stated that virtue, it is the highest good of everything. And when you practice virtue, you become a person with more resilient, happier, more virtuous, and wiser. And that's the reason that I like it so much. And I'm applying these fundamental concepts in my daily life. Stoicism has helped me to identify how things can be controlled and what others cannot be controlled. Things that I can control are my actions, my behavior, my thoughts. Things that I cannot control is money, fame, age, my look, among others. For Stoics, which are the person that practice Stoicism, it is a waste of time to worry about things that you don't control. As Marcus Aurelius said, I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet set less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinion of others. Stoicism has also given me the opportunity to have a deeper knowledge of my feelings and my thoughts. As a Stoic, I write for 5 to 10 minutes every evening, my daily experiences, and how can I apply this to Stoicism principles. I write it in a notebook, and the notebook is called a handbook for new Stoics, how to drive in a world out of your control. So this book is a 52 week by week lesson. So you can write down your daily experiences every day. At the same time, Stoicism has given me the opportunity to become more knowledgeable about my own mortality. Everybody knows that we are gonna die someday. But for most of the people, they are thinking that they are gonna die in a very, very, very further time ahead. We don't even know actually. We can be alive maybe 10 years more, 5 months, or only 1 more week. That's why for Stoicism, the most important thing is the present moment. We cannot spend time feeling guilty about our past or maybe worrying too much about our future. The present time is the time that you have to hug other people. And also it's the time that you have to say thank you to people that deserve, or maybe I'm sorry to the people that you harm. Stoicism has given me a lot of opportunity to have more character and becoming more virtuous. At the same time, in these critical times, it has helped me to get through this 2020 year that has been so unexpected for all of us. And I know now that the happiness that I was looking for is not gonna be outside, it's gonna be inside myself, my inner peace, and my character. That's why Stoicism is my new philosophy in life. Thank you, Madam Toastmasters.
Thank you, Carmen. Now we're going to put in chat private messages to Carmen on your comments on what she did well and suggestions for improvement. Mr. Timer, if you can walk and chew gum at the same time and give Carmen some comments, but also time us for a couple of minutes, that would be very helpful. When the Toastmaster is continuing to write her evaluation, then you get a little extra time. Okay, good. Well, that was quite nice, Carmen. I would like to, at this point, ask if our evaluator would like additional time to work on that evaluation, in which case we would go directly to table topics, or
I think
if he
that
would
would
like
be-
to go.
That would be best if I had a little more time.
Good. Good. It's completely fine when we only have one speech. All right. Let's go ahead and Mr. Timer, let me just quickly check. Did our speaker qualify?
Yes, our speaker qualified.
Okay, great. So we have that bit. All right. Let's just move right along into our table topics section then. And leading us tonight in our table topics is our table topics master, Art Atkinson.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. This is a deep and profound subject, forgiveness, that we're working with tonight, and I have many questions. Who would like to be first?
Ooh, I'm evaluating. Okay, sorry.
I see plenty of hands.
Mhm.
2 of them, in fact, from Bob Vogel.
Bob, that's a new way to raise your hand, but we'll take it. Okay, Bob's up.
So Bob, the question is, have you ever forgiven someone or been forgiven by someone else for some reason? And tell us what that experience was like.
Well, someone going to time me? Because I am the timer this evening.
Okay. Aaron,
I can,
Sure. Yeah, I can time.
can you just time him since I'm evaluating and or it's up? Okay. So you can think about that, Bob.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. The question being, have I ever forgiven or have been forgiven about a situation? And elaborate.
Mhm.
As I shared in a speech a couple weeks ago, when I shared a story about one of my exes. And as you well know, there was infidelity in this situation. And I kind of shared briefly about forgiveness a little bit. But one thing I never touched on is obviously if there's an adulterer, there's another male involved. And at that particular time, I want to know other than snuff him out. And I dwelled on those feelings. I ate those feelings. I felt them. But at one point, when I shared earlier, I said I had to forgive. And at which point I did forgive. That's all fine and dandy when you say I forgive to the mirror or to yourself lying in bed or whatever. 25 years later, I have a buddy of mine I've known for quite some time. His dad passed away, and I was at the funeral. And guess who came up behind me that I hadn't seen for 25 years? That was that guy. I have feelings of rage, but I have feelings of forgiveness, kind of a bittersweet thing. As he walked up to me, he stretched out his hand and he turned to me and asked, Bob, will you forgive me? I did. I stretched out my hand, I shook his hand, and I said, I forgive. It was a defining moment in my life, and I never looked back because I'm free. I have peace. I have joy. I have the power. I have the power in me. No one has taken from me. I'm not a victim anymore. With that, thank you, fellow Toastmasters. And back to you.
well done.
Sorry about that, Bob. My background decided that they wanted to re-download for some reason. I don't know what that was about.
Okay. Did I? No, I'll find out.
So question number 2 is ready. Who would like to answer a question and speak? Okay, Aaron. So the question is, have you ever needed to forgive and then forgive again because this first time didn't seem to take, or have to do it repeatedly to get free? If not, do you know of any situation like that in your close personal knowledge?
Hello, Toastmasters. Mr. Table Topics Master, viewers at home. Yeah, this forgiveness is difficult, and it's even more difficult to forgive someone multiple times. But I've been in that situation. I had a friend of mine in high school who was, I don't know, kind of a bit of a bad kid, I guess I'd say. Really good friend of mine, but he made a lot of bad choices. Maybe, got into some drugs at some point. And was just very flaky and just was a bad influence on me. My parents didn't like him, but I liked spending time with him, even if I didn't do some of that other stuff with him. But he would backstab me quite a bit, and it would hurt. And it would be to the point where I would stop seeing him for a certain point of time and basically show him that, hey, I'm not kidding around. You can't keep doing this stuff to me. And then he would try to say, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'd eventually say, okay, I forgive you. And then we'd move on. Then we'd become friends again. And then a few months later, then he'd do it again. He'd steal something of mine or try to cheat off of me in a test or something like that. And then I'd say, no, you can't keep doing that to me. Friends don't do that. And then again, I would stop spending time with him, and then he'd come around and beg and forgive enough times, and then I'd eventually get back to him again and again and again. And this happened several times, more times than I can count. And I think at a certain point, you have to decide whether or not it's worth forgiving this person that many times. After a certain point, you have to decide, is this person actually wanting to change? Is this person actually wanting to get better? Or are they abusing the system, so to speak? And I think at some point I finally decided that this person was abusing their privileges and no longer deserved my friendship. Forgiveness is tough, and some people deserve it, but I think at a certain point, people need to change as well. Thank you.
Well done again. I have another question that's simpler.
You don't say.
Okay,
I just don't want to resent you, Art, for giving me a really impossible question.
does it make sense to forgive an animal for doing what it's in its nature to do? For example, deer eat tulips. Does it make sense to plant tulips, get angry when the deer eats the tulip? Is forgiveness a natural part of this kind of situation? Or what do you do to prevent repeats? Does forgiveness apply?
Art, I am resenting you a little bit because you've put in about 3 or 4 different hooks in there. I'm saying that, Art, I don't highly resent you, but I have to use the word of the day. But I also think you went on there a little bit. So thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, and viewers at home. I'm going to start with the first piece of that question, which was, if an animal does something that is in their nature, can you forgive them? What do you do? How do you handle that? I will just start by saying that I really like animals. I think we are all fellow inhabitants on this planet, and that animals are much more complex and actually have often been here a lot longer than we have been. I'm often wondering if we're in the way, and I think we often are in the way. We have had rabbits. When we first moved into our house here, Dan was just such a wonderful gardener. He put all kinds of things together. We had a landscape plan. It was just like those biology books where you keep adding something each year, the muscles and then the veins. And then he followed that really well and was very sweet about just being out in nature. The first winter, we had rabbits who are doing what rabbits do, who came in and just ate swaths of all of this work that Dan had done. And I remember the morning I came in to our common area and I hear this, Jean. And I went, what? And he goes, the rabbits, they ate and it was something. They ate the tree, they ate the hedge, they did something. And he just said, where's my shotgun? Wascally rabbits. His whole attitude changed. I forgive the animals, but I also think it's our responsibility to take care of our environment in such a way that we all live peacefully and harmoniously together, animals and humans.
Okay, next. Hi, Dan.
Hello.
Okay. Somebody said forgiveness is the act of giving up on having a better past. Do you agree or not, and why? Forgiveness is the act of giving up on having a better past.
Mr. Topics Master. I wish I knew who said that so he could explain it to me. My immediate reaction is that I don't believe that I do agree with that. The tenor of the sentiment seems to be that you've given up. You can't do any better in digesting what's happened in your life before. So you might as well just pack it in and forgive everybody, whoever did anything to you. I have the feeling that it might be a higher order of dealing with the world, dealing with others, to fully embrace everything that's happened. Perhaps Carmen could give us a point about how the Stoics would deal with it, but whether it's been good or bad, embrace it all. And then from a position of more wholeness, forgive any slight or shortcomings that have come your way during that past. It could be that whoever gave us that quote would have said that I'm completely misunderstanding it, but that's my reaction to the feeling when you throw in the phrase giving up on having a better past. I feel like you probably really don't need to give up in order to forgive what's happened in the past that needs forgiving. Thanks for the question.
Mm-hmm.
Madam Toastmaster, what's our time situation?
Our time is, just a moment. Let's see, 8:34. We still have Dan. I think we could do one more.
Okay. Carmen, thank you for volunteering. In a situation of forgiveness, who gets more out of it? The one who forgives, or the one who is forgiven? And why?
That's a good question.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and viewers at home. I think the person that forgives is the person that is gonna be better in every situation. Why? Because the act of forgiveness is actually the act of how do you judge a situation. Most of the time, people judge a situation because for them, they reminding something bad. It's not actually the situation by itself, but it's if what do they take it if it's bad or good. When you forgive something, actually you are forgiving yourself because you are making a statement that yes, I can be wrong about this. And put it in the shoes on the other person, because everyone, when they act, have their own reasons and they have their different perceptions. Unless there is someone really evil, but I'm sure that that evil person has always their own perceptions or have to justify how did they think bad. So for that reason, forgive a person or in a particular situation gives more to your knowledge and to your deep inner peace of mind, and realize that all the situations not only can be bad or good, but also you can learn from them. Thank you for the question.
All right. Mr. Timer, which of our table topics speakers qualified tonight?
Our speakers that qualified were Jean, Dan, Carmen, and I don't know about myself,
Yes, Bob, you qualified.
and then myself.
Okay, so Jean, Dan, Carmen, Bob.
Yes.
All right. All right. Since I am the Toastmaster, if you could just send me your votes and I will tally those up.
Or down.
But now
Or down.
we're
Okay.
down.
Tally them up or down.
Oh,
To Jean,
I'll tally them. I think I will tally them up tonight. I might tally them down at another meeting. I might
That's a new one.
just count them, forget tallying at another meeting. Okay.
I didn't know you could tally something down.
I didn't know you could tally it up.
Well, we may have to have a side meeting on this.
A nice grammarian fact thing,
Yeah.
right?
Hope Art is taking note of that.
Sounds like a Monty Python sketch to me.
I've never heard tally down. I've never heard tally down. I've heard tally up. Tally up. All right. So, okay, let's see. Good. Well, if I think I've got one more out, couple out actually, so you can think about it and then send me that final. And meantime, Dan, would you like me to go? Would you like to go?
I'll go ahead and go if you prefer.
Yeah, that's good.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, it's my privilege tonight to have been Carmen's evaluator as she did this project. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was an excellent choice of a topic for inspiring your audience. It was inspiring to have her lay out how she moved through the path of becoming a Stoic and how she's working on that. I'm going to follow the points of the evaluation guide and ask what the speaker excelled at, what they might want to work on, how they might want to challenge themselves. What Carmen did really well tonight was a very clear exposition of her points. Her talk was nicely written, very clear points. Her delivery was very relaxed and clear. Her eye contact was just excellent, just right from the beginning. I could see in the opening of her talk, she had great connection with the audience. A couple of other things I noticed that were really quite good were gestures. She had a lot of lists in this talk, many of them triads, which are nice, but at least once, and probably more, she would give a point, a point, a point. That really is very effective. And I noticed good natural gestures at other times. I think at one point she said, everybody knows, with their hands going out wide. So all of that was very well done. I also liked the visual aid. Before this talk, I had no idea that there was a new Stoic workbook, but there it was. So all quite interesting to learn about. What Carmen may want to work on, in my opinion, and this is all my opinion, Carmen, so you don't need to resent me if I say something out of turn, is a little more vocal variety. I really enjoyed the quality of your voice. It was it was, like I said, relaxed, but it had animation too. I thought in certain points you could have gotten a little more dramatic. Maybe at the point where you said, it's a waste of time to worry. Something like that. Give us a little more zip here and there. And then to challenge yourself, what I thought about was that when you're inspiring an audience, it is quite good to explain, what were the problems I was trying to face? What were the steps that I took? How have I moved along that path? But another thing you can do in inspiring an audience is to explain clearly and directly what's in it for them. Mm-hmm. Start out the beginning of the talk and say, the reason you're going to want to know this is, and then deliver it in terms of the audience. It just connects more solidly in terms of inspiring them. And then in parallel to that, what you could do at the end of your talk is give them a call to action. So now that you understand how this is going to be of such great value for your life, what you'll want to do is buy your copy of the New Stoic Workbook and keep a journal. You're going to want to join the support groups on YouTube, Spanish or English, your choice, of that sort. I really enjoyed the talk. I thought you were very accomplished in delivering it, and I look forward to more from you in the future.
Who's the general evaluator tonight? Actually, that should be maybe, let me hand off to the general evaluator because that's who should be, taking over a little bit.
Right.
Oh, Bob?
I kind of dropped the ball, Dan. I did not time you because I was looking at something different. And then I'm
I
like,
feel that it was 3 minutes and 16 seconds.
No, he was definitely over,
Oh,
which means there's only one evaluator left. No, I'm just, how to knock out your competition. I noticed, Bob. I thought, what's Bob doing over there?
I was typing something. So
This really helps multitasking skills, I guess, too.
it does.
Well, Dan makes up in quality. That was pretty nice. So, okay.
Good job,
And-
Dan.
And confession is good for the soul, Bob. And because we are focused on forgiveness tonight, we all forgive you.
You don't resent
Hey.
Yeah.
not recent.
We
I have
don't
some
resent you.
residual
We
resentment.
forgive you. And now we all feel better because that's what Carmen says happens when
Yes.
forgiver gets the goodies. You gave us that opportunity. All right, Aaron, hand it off to Aaron.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. With that, I will pass it off to our table topics evaluator for this evening, Jean Symington Craig, to give her evaluation of our table topic session. Take it away, Jean.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Such a thought-provoking theme and questions tonight. First, Bob got the question to ask about the time when he either forgave or was forgiven and what was going on. Gave a wonderful personal story right from the get-go with an instant hook. I wanted to snuff him out. I always like to hear when someone's going to get snuffed out. He had gestures, lots of gestures. He had a fist, he had his neck, he had a handshake. I could really see the scenes that he was portraying. And I liked his conclusion. He wrapped it up. He said, as a result, forgiving, he was free and he was no longer a victim. So it was very powerful, very solid delivery. I would suggest for Bob, the one thing was that in case someone in the audience had missed that talk that you gave, whatever week that was, it was just to give a one sentence description or review of what that was. Who was unfaithful? Just in a nutshell, my wife was unfaithful to me with another man. And that's it. Because otherwise there's a little lingering, well, was Bob unfaithful? It's a little hard to get traction there. You could figure it out, but a little hard. Oh, by the way, so are we giving me, I can do 2 to 3. Aaron, forgive and then do it again. Aaron gave a great story and actually had a very strong conclusion, which is sometimes people just don't want to get better. And if you keep forgiving them, it just lets them keep doing whatever it is they're doing to you. And so those are the times when you recognize abuse and you have to sever ties. I just thought that was a really good piece. Aaron did go up a little bit on the ends of a sentence. Friend of mine made bad choices. So we're working on that with Aaron, but he didn't do it as much as he has in the past. So that was very good. Dan, forgiveness and giving up on having a better past. He worked to unpack what that meant. And I was having trouble myself, but he did get it to a nice, harmonious, higher level. You embrace what's happened. And I liked his conclusion. Wrapped it around to the beginning. And so you don't really need to give up in order to forgive. My suggestion to Dan was that the logic immediately says the past is past. You're not giving up on having a better past or a worse past because the past is past. So that's I don't know what, maybe it's how you think about the past, but the past has happened, people. So you're often running to the present and forward for Carmen. Carmen, who gets more, the forgiver of the forgiven. I lost myself in Carmen's talk. I was down a rabbit hole, very abstract. I got lost, which is not Carmen's fault. It was just me really being open to what she was trying to say. I don't have a suggestion for Carmen other than that, and I want to ask for her forgiveness for going down that rabbit hole and not being able to come up with something more substantive.
You are forgiven, Jean.
Thank you. It feels pretty good to be forgiven too, I must say.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Evaluator. I'll move on to our end of meeting reports for today's meeting.
Vote.
What's that? Oh, oh yeah, we have to vote for best evaluator, right?
You're forgiven. We don't resent you. We don't resent you for missing
Okay.
it.
Oh, so Mr. Timer, did our evaluators qualify?
I don't know.
How, if you don't know, who does? Oh yeah, I guess I see what you mean.
One, I have to go on the assumption, as long as there's no resentment towards the timer, if the first evaluator qualified. If that evaluator qualified, yes, we have one that qualified. The second evaluator did not qualify. So I'm not sure how you want to.
Okay. Well then,
And you didn't count where I was saying, asking for Carmen's forgiveness, right? Because that was really after. You didn't count that part.
Not.
Okay. I'm trying not to resent you, Bob. I'm really trying. I want to forgive you in this dire moment.
You got the power.
I don't want to be a victim.
That's right.
then in that case, there's no reason to. So we will move on to the reports section of today's meeting, starting, funnily enough, with our timer, Bob Vogel. Please give us your timer's report.
President. This evening, our prepared speech was Carmen. She qualified 7 minutes, 10 seconds. Our next table topic speaker was Erin yourself, was 2 minutes, 34 seconds. Jean, she was 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Dan was 2 minutes, 1 second. And Carmen's was 2 minutes and 12 seconds. You want me to read the general evaluation also? Or,
What general evaluation?
well, Dan and Jean, their time.
We're just evaluators.
Okay.
Yeah, you could say.
Okay. Dan, I'm saying he came in on time.
Making it up. Right.
Just felt good. Hey, that's a guy night, Dan, right? Yeah. Yeah. Jean was 3 minutes and 33 seconds, and it did not count the last little bit about.
Wow, Bob. Wow. Just wow.
And then Erin, what was my time?
2:27.
Okay.
There's my report. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters and Erin, our
When
president.
you're over, you're over. That's just the way it goes. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Timer. Next, we'll hear from our grammarian, Art Atkinson, to give his report. Take it away, Art.
It works better when I'm unmuted. So resent was a rounding success tonight. Jean, I count 4 uses, Bob 2, Dan. Dan actually didn't use it. I'm sorry. No, he used it once. Erin had a very vivid description of his friend that he described this pseudo friend as abusing the system. He was abusing the system of forgiveness and repeat, and forgiveness and repeat offenders. Dan, I didn't manage to get them written down, but your evaluation was replete with beautiful phrases and descriptions of the beauties of Carmen's talk. But I didn't catch the phraseology and get it on paper. I apologize.
Forgiven.
And Carmen used a phrase about the situation is either good or bad, but offered the opportunity to learn from it. I thought that was worth noting. That's my report. I think it's time for the next.
Yes. Sorry. Thank you, Art. Next, we hear from our counselor, who's myself.
Way back.
Jean had 1 so, 3 ands, 1 repeat. Dan had 2 repeats and 1 tongue click. Art had 1 so, 1 repeat. Carmen, 1 so, 1 but, 2 ands, 2 repeats. Bob, 2 buts, 3 ands. Pretty good meeting. That's my report. Thank you. Next, we will hear from our joke master, Jean Symington Craig.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. A woman announces to her friend that she's getting married for the 4th time.
Oh, geez.
How wonderful. But I hope you don't mind me asking what happened to your first husband. He ate poisonous mushrooms and died. Oh, how tragic. What about your second husband? He ate poisonous mushrooms too and died. Oh, how terrible. I'm almost afraid to ask you about your third husband. He died of a broken neck. A broken neck? He wouldn't eat the mushrooms. I used to pray every night for a bicycle. Then I realized the Lord doesn't work like that. So I stole a bike and asked for forgiveness. Finally, I asked the priest for forgiveness because I ate a dog today. He said I would suffer eternal Dalmatian.
Oh,
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Mhm.
thank you, Jean. Those first 2 jokes keep me from resenting you for the terrible pun on that third joke. Now for my general evaluators report of our excellent evaluators that we had for tonight. The duo of Jean and Dan Craig, starting with Dan, who evaluated Carmen's speech for tonight. Dan had, in my opinion, one of the best evaluations that he's ever had, if not that I've ever heard in this club, if I have to be entirely honest. He greeted the audience. He started with praise, just as we're always taught to begin with praise for who you're evaluating. He gave very specific examples of each point, both when he was giving praise and when he was giving criticism. He talked about how Carmen had clear points, she had a relaxed delivery, excellent eye contact, good gestures, and he gave examples of where she used gestures very well, and examples of clear points that she had as well. And then he gave her some critiques, and before he started with the critiques, he wanted her to be sure that this was just his opinion, which is always good to remind the speaker of. You know, this is my opinion, you can take it or leave it kind of thing. He noted her vocal variety, that maybe she could have improved there, and gave a good example of a moment in her speech where she could have used vocal variety to improve, which is great, giving the speaker a specific example. And focusing more on a better audience connection with her speech. So basically what's in it for us, right? And once again, he gave specific examples of how she could accomplish this with her audience. The only thing that I have, and really it's more of a challenge, something that we haven't talked about in a while, is the third person evaluation. Dan gave more of a first person evaluation where he was talking directly to Carmen, and we haven't talked about it in a while, but in the past we used to mention that maybe it's preferred to do a third person evaluation where you're talking about Carmen did this and Carmen did that, instead of saying you did that, you did that, and this is how you can improve. Just maybe softens some of the critiques a little bit and gives it a more general appeal to the whole audience. For Jean's evaluation of table topics, she greeted the audience to start with. She reminded the audience of each speech. So before she moved on to each table topic speech, she would tell us what the question was and what answer they gave, which puts us into the mindset of, oh yeah, now I remember what Bob's speech was, and gets us more prepared for the evaluation that she gives. And once again, she started with praise for each person, telling us what they did well, and gave specific examples of how they did that point well. And then gave a critique for most of the speakers. I think Jean was starting to run out of time towards the end, so she was kind of frantically trying to come up with stuff. I didn't hear one for Dan, maybe I missed it. I know with Carmen, she kind of gave one, but she also kind of admitted to the fact that if she had more time, she would have given a more worthwhile one. And I think that's a good point, is something that I've struggled with, and I know other people with, is time as far as these evaluations go. It's really, really rapid fire. I mean, when I have like one point of praise, one point of criticism, and then telling the audience about each speaker. And really, in my opinion, that's almost all you have time for before you have to move on to the next one and still be within time. Just work towards having that more rapid fire shoot off so that you don't run out of time towards the end of your evaluation. And that's my report. And now I will pass it off to our Toastmaster to do the meeting awards. Take it away, Jean Symington Craig.
Great, thank you. This is not a surprise, but even if she had had numerous competitors, we do have a best speaker of the evening, Carmen Antacona. Woo! Yes, you're the champion of the world. Yay. Okay. We also have a best evaluator who gave the best evaluation that has ever come out of his mouth, evidently. I don't think you meant to say better than mine, but that's okay. It's the best that came out of his mouth ever. We'll go there. And that would be Dan Craig. Woo! Dan Craig. Woo! Seem to have a fair amount of extraneous comments here tonight. Then we have table topics. Now, I will say that we had a smattering, scattering of votes. So I am taking a novel approach to deciding a winner, which is that I am taking it's basically a fair amount of ties. So I'm going to take the person who got their votes in first, because that is going to indicate to me that, let's just say it were me. Whoever sent in their vote for me quickly, that says to me, boy, they enthusiastic, no question. Da, 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 da. Whereas someone who kind of okay, well, so I'm going with that. That's my way of doing the tiebreaker. And in that case, our table topics winner tonight is, drum roll please, Bob Vogel. Woo! Bob Vogel. Yay. Okay.
The only ribbon I got, right? Ta-da.
That's right. You hold on to that. That's like your first dollar ever. Like that was your first Toastmaster ribbon ever, and the first meeting you ever came to.
And
Yeah.
his last.
And his last in-person meeting.
First and last.
We knew he was a star right from the get-go. With that, I will turn it back over to our president. I will say, I think this meeting was really fun and always a pleasure to be with you all every week. Mr. President.
I think what made it fun was all the resentments that were given up.
I know
Yeah.
forgiveness was supposed to be the
Yeah.
thing, but we really got into resentment.
Well, the meeting structure offers a lot of opportunities to get resentment.
Yeah. Yeah.
True.
Well, we tried to keep the forgiveness up too, but boy, the resentment was just so spontaneous. Yes, Mr. President.
Thank you. I don't really have many things to talk about. Officer training sessions. The next one is, I guess it's not for a while, not till January 16th. I believe everyone has signed up at least for one of the sessions, so we're all of our bases are covered. And then besides that, we've been working on our marketing strategy. That's been going pretty well. I don't know if people have paid attention to our posts, but they've been getting some clicks. Continue with that. Jean, you had something.
I was just going to mention that we have until the end of the year to get that free path. There's been a little bit of shifting around as to when it is. I wasn't clear myself, but if the officer training, it is by December 31st. So if you haven't gotten that, that's just a free deal. Do it. You don't have to do anything with it. It'll just be sitting there in your curriculum options. But don't forget that. I went in and did it the other day just to make sure I had it. And when you start the path, Bob, did you finish going and making your selection after we did it that one time?
I did. What was interesting, when you and I were playing on it, the very next day it came back and said that I was qualified.
It said you had it.
I said I had it. Yep.
Yeah, so watch it, because I thought that path selection thing would get you to a point where you'd see $20, but then it would say you owed nothing. But it's like the rug slips out from under you, and all of a sudden, hey, guess what? You have that path. Was that path okay, Bob?
Yeah, that's fine. Yep.
That was okay.
I did that. It was free, and then, yep, it was just fine.
I was afraid that we were gonna get caught with it, but if it's okay, then that's okay. Good. All right.
No,
So just you'll be able to select a path. You can either do the assessment again or just go in and read about the paths. And once you start clicking, pretty soon you're going to be the proud owner of this new path. So
Yeah.
watch that. And that's good. Next week, we have Dan Craig as our speaker. See that, Aaron? I'm sorry, I'm going up.
Oh,
Next week, we have Dan as
I
our
didn't even
speaker.
notice.
I know, we have to notice it. That's the first step in these
And knowing
things.
is half the battle.
Yeah, just hearing it is really the
G.I.
important part.
Joe.
Dan will be our speaker next week. Then Aaron's our speaker after that, and on the 29th, and then Bob is on the 5th. Okay. I think we're good. Did anyone mention Toastmasters this week to anybody? Okay, I know it's hard because we're all in various stages of either isolating or just not getting out the way we normally would. But do the best you can. I did have a nice conversation with Addie and asked him to come and visit, but
Nice.
it's the holidays too, which people have other things on their mind as well. But okay, that's it from my side. I'm very proud
All right.
we've got speeches coming.
With that, thank
And
you
it's-
all for
it's time.
another successful meeting. And we'll see you all next week.
Okay.